Hey guys, what's going on? Inception here, and welcome to a new video. Today, we are going to try a video where I analyze the gameplay that you guys give me. So, I haven't watched this gameplay yet. I don't know whether or not this is a decent play or a good player. This is from one of my viewers, subscribers on Twitch, Bad News Bastards. He's going to show me a gameplay clip that he has. Now, I'm not sure if he's going to show me the formation or the tactics that he uses, but if you guys do end up showing these to me, that's going to be more preferable so I can see exactly how your team is moving with the tactics and instructions that you have. And you have to tell me what type of style you plan on playing and what kind of areas you thought you weren't doing really good, so I can analyze that a little bit better for you guys. So I hope you guys enjoy this video today. Let's get started with the video. So he's going to start off here with against this team. So right off the bat, you can already tell that this guy's probably going to switch to a 4-1-2-2. He's probably going to use Hullet on the side, Patrick Vieira as a CDM, then Pogba on the side. He's probably going to use possibly Dybala or Aguero as the cam, and then Ronaldo obviously is going to be one of the strikers. So fantastic team, pretty generic to be honest. It's a pretty generic squad in terms of the meta in Foot Champs. So we're gonna go ahead and skip this a little bit to see what type of team my man is rolling with. So you have a 4-3-3 and you use a 4-2-3-1. Okay. Oh, so you're switching to the 4-2-3-1 wide. So you have Henry, Alessandrini, Larson, Petit, Milinkovic, Savic, Hazard, Roberto Carlos, Ferdinand Desai, and Vasalico. Okay. And Farman and net. Okay, so you put Hazard there, Petit there, Milinkovic. Okay, let me see this for a second here. You leave Henry as the... Okay, hold on. Oh, no, you do. Okay, so you leave Milinkovic, Savic, and Petit as your CDMs. You tell them... I think you probably use the same instructions that I use for the 4-2-3-1. Stay for... Oh, no, you use stay forward on the cams. Okay, so stay back while attacking for the... Okay. Get in behind, okay. And then the striker you don't touch. Awesome. So again, guys, when we analyze these games, we're gonna see what the person. So when you're using a 4-2-3-1, you're using more of a defensive type formation. I'm gonna put the volume a little louder for you guys here. And we're gonna go from there. Okay, so you're building up the play in the middle, which is good. Laying it up to the sides when you need to. This guy's already doing a decent job here because he's using all the right players in the middle except for that guy. So him pushing this guy over here, he might actually be using a 4-2-3-1. Now that I see it, the two CDMs might be these two because Hullet's his cam. Whoever he has on the left side's there, right side's there. So he's probably actually using a 4-2-3-1 as well. Building up the middle. You didn't do anything wrong there. Sometimes the first passes are a little bit off. By the way, guys, I don't know how good this gameplay is, but I prefer when you guys send me the gameplay clips that they were lower tier a little bit, right? This guy's doing the right thing by putting the pressure on in the middle, but he's created all this space to work with. So you as the attacker need to exploit the space that he's leaving in that area. That's exactly what he does. Good job. That's good. Patrick Vieira defends really well. Yep, so you're using the middle guy, which is important. Don't push out too wide. Like, don't push up too forward with your attacking players because it doesn't really help you because now that you push Larson now, you have this huge space over here that he can work with. So don't overcommit the guys too much. Like, the area of which you want your attackers to be in is this general area right here. You don't want to push Larson too high up there. You just give them more space to work with. That's good pressure. You went back. That's good. See, this right here, guys, just to occupy that space, right? It's all about keeping your players in position. He put the pressure on him, and then he moved back because he can see that he's making the run. Don't put the pressure on, switch from this player because he's going to stay in this general area, and then this guy's going to have all that space to work with. So he does a good thing here by actually dragging his Roberto Carlos back there, and then he switches his player back to the middle because that's the focal point of gameplay in this game. Yeah, so that's good. He's still using Patrick Vieira here because he has to stay in the general middle area. He kept Hazard to the side. That's good. This guy's doing the same thing. See, you see how he's building up the play? He's building up the play to revolve around the middle right now. You can tell that he's not really a side player so far. Because his players come short to him and everything. You're switching to the right guys. Now, from this position, and when I say these things, guys, it really depends on gameplay. Because sometimes the switching is awful. But at this moment right here, you got to switch to this guy right here to block that general area. Because Milinkovic-Savic is your right center defensive mid. So it needs to be blocking this area right here. So you're using Hazard right there. You shouldn't have been using Hazard. And again, this really depends on if you switch to the right person or not, because the game is weird sometimes. So if it didn't go to, because I can actually tell that when you switched from, and this could be the game thing, right? Oh, so you're using Milinkovic here. You should have kept on Milinkovic. You should have kept on him because you can tell that when you get off of him, that's where the space opens up a little bit, right? Because you're using the guy that you don't have to use. You don't even have to use second man press because he's going to stay in that general area. If anything, Roberto Carlos will go back to the left back position. Because you'll notice here right now, right, is that instead of Roberto Carlos being here, he's here now.
And in an effort to stop that, he brings in this player who might just be able to plug some gaps.
One area I know they've been concerned about is difficulties from balls into the penalty area. They need somebody to head them away, and here we are with the new signing.
Yeah, he's a player that likes to attack the ball.
That was good defending. He had to switch quicker, though.
He has cleared it well.
Good passing. This guy is an aggressive defender. So when you notice that people are doing this, right? Just look at his left mid here. How he overcommits. So he's already overcommitted the two guys in the middle, right? And if you look at the radar, you know how you not only have to deal with 3 people, and he always overcommits everyone. He's already overcommitted this guy right here, so you have this side to work with. If you pass this side right here, you'll have all this space right here to work with now, right? So you pass the ball to the bottom. Now you have a lot of space because if you do a pass to the middle or to this guy, you can do a 1-2 pass and your Aguero will be through on goal because look at what he does with his Alexandro, really pushing him out of position, right? So he's an aggressive type defender. And that's what you do. See, that's what he actually did. So he noticed that his wings were open now, and that's the area which he exploited. Over here, what you want to do is you want to do a quick ball roll. So right here, it depends, right? So you could have done 2 different things here, right? Just a test to see what would have worked out best. Because the way that the attack works here on the sides, when you get into the box, is that your players commit forward, but sometimes they don't go back. The point of you being on the side here is waiting for them to go back. If they go back, that's when they can do like an easy tap in, right? So you can notice that your attackers are making the run forward. When they're making that run forward, you either have to go for the far post cross with the player that's open over there, or you have to go for a ball roll at this very moment right here. So right here, ball roll, you could do a ball roll and see if Thierry Henry moves back, or you try to build up the play again, because sometimes really committing this play doesn't really work out. You should also try out the cross finesse, which is a new thing where you RB cross it, right? To do a low cross to see if it would go around the player in this situation and see if it would go to the guy far post. Because sometimes when you actually cross normally far post, it doesn't really work out that well. And it's Alessandrini, so crossing to him isn't going to be the best idea to do.
Short the corner this time.
Passing it off to Hazard, crossing it. If you're crossing it like this, by the way, is from this angle, you're never going to get a solid cross in. Like if you're crossing it with your thumbstick, because I don't know how you're using your thumbstick, don't use it here. Use it here, because it would cross the ball a little bit differently. So when you're crossing it with your thumbstick, you would aim in this general direction if you want to cross it. I wouldn't recommend it, because if you notice, right, he has 2 of the big guys coming after you. So if you just build up the play in the middle, you won't have to deal with those 2 guys anymore, right? Because you don't see the style of play that you're using right now is that you want to cross the ball, but you can't really do it because of Alessandrini. You need all players to be like Larson or Thierry Henry. I don't even think Larson has good jumping and heading stats, but I'm actually going to check that out right now really quickly. So Larson's with 2 R's, and I believe you have the prime version of Larson as well. So let me just check that right now. Larson has a 92 jumping and 96 heading. Okay, so you have one player that has it, but he's 5'10", so at least he can actually get the ball in the air. But Alessandrini cannot. So if you cross with Alessandrini, Because here's the thing, right? If you're playing a crossing game, your left mid and your right mid need to be capable of actually winning the ball in the air, because most of the times you cross the ball in, it actually doesn't go to your striker. It goes to your left mid and right mid, because crossing it far post is more effective than crossing it in the middle, because in the middle the goalie can easily get it, right? You defend really well there by holding that general area. Good. Hold up play is good. Right there, see? So when you see that he's overcommitting his left back, right, as you're playing, you see that he's overcommitting his left back, that's when you try to do like a regular pass there to Hazard, and then you do a 1-2, and then you have all that space to work with. Because that now that you pass in the middle, you've wasted that opportunity. See how he overcommits his Alexandro? He pushes him back at some point, right? So if you make this A pass to Hazard and do a 1-2, you can have all that space to work with on the side. Sometimes the middle is like very, very congested. You do well there. That's good switching. You have to switch back to the center back there. By the way, guys, when I say that you have to switch, blah, 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 the switching is awful in this game, so I don't know if he was doing it or not, because sometimes I try to switch to the center back, and even in a 3-second span, it doesn't actually switch to that guy, so I don't really fully blame you if it doesn't actually switch to the dude. That was a good switch. Now the guy's making a run the side. You hit that. Nice. Now you hold it. Hold it. Now you got to bring it back. That was fine, though. You have to do more L trigger there, because Thierry Henry's an absolute monster, like, off the ball, right? He's strong as hell, so no one's going to get the ball off him. Overcommitting Hazard there was a mistake, because Hazard's your right mid. Now you have to push Vasaliko up, and now you have 3 defenders at the back. So Vasaliko is occupying that space that Hazard has left now. So now you don't have a right back. But you get fortunate. He does a really bad pass there. It's all about keeping your players in position. Like, you can't overcommit a Hazard to the middle, you know? Unless you have freeform on in your custom tactics. If you have freeform, then another player will occupy that space, but might not be as good. That's good attacking. Wouldn't have passed that. So once you got into this position right here, because it's Larson, so Larson's stats have 83 shot power is not crazy good, but with Larson, you could have probably finished that from that angle, especially. Because once you make this pass right here, you can fake him out a little bit, so it depends on what you want to do, right? You have the instructions of getting behind on your left mid. So what that actually does is that it brings this guy back, but it also keeps this guy on the side. So what you could have done, right, is you could have dribbled it downwards, seen where his player was when you dribbled it downwards, and then dribbled it back upwards, and then see what you would have done from there. But passing it off to Thierry Henry isn't the best idea, because when you're already in the box, making that extra pass isn't always worth it unless you're laying it off to the sides, right? So in this position right here, if you did a first-time touch downwards, you would have already had the space. You could have driven finesse shot it into the bottom right side. Defending with your CDM, good. You have to bring him back. That's Milinkovic-Savic. That's your right center defensive mid. So you're going to leave a huge gap here if you take him out of position. If you do this, right, where you pull Milinkovic-Savic upwards, you have to put him in this general area. You can never push upwards like that. You can't do that. Because then if you do that, you're leaving your players vulnerable in the middle, right? Because that's the space that he's going to work with. That's what you got to do. See? So he brought Milinkovic-Savic back in the right center defensive mid area. Don't push him up too much. Switch to Hazard. Right here, you got to switch to Hazard. Because your middle is already good. So now you got to switch to Hazard in this situation. To put him back into his position on the right mid side. This guy really commits his fullback. So you're getting behind instructions is perfect for this right now. He really commits them. When you notice that, it's all about wing play. When they overcommit their fullbacks like that, it's all about using the wings. Good, you were controlling the fullback there. Obvious pass. They make those ones, though, because they think that like a player like Hola will get the ball, right? Should pass that to the sides. I don't know if you try to. Lay it off. Nice. Nice. Good passing. He'll bring it back. Beautiful. Upwards. All the guys in the middle were gone, man. You had to pass that upwards. Over here, you might be screwed in general, so you have to hold your play there. Hold your position. So over here, Yeah, it's like a hopeful thing at this point, right? So in this position right here, from this angle, it's definitely 100% possible for Ronaldo to hit this with his left foot. But at this point, you're not close enough to Ronaldo to really put that pressure on. So you just have to hold this general area right here, just in case he wants to cut back inside. He gets actually really unfortunate here because depending on how the game feels, they could have actually put this ball into the back of the net for him. Pass to the bottom. Nice. You're a good player though, man. I can tell that you're at least like a elite one. I would say. I would say you're elite one, elite two. That's not your fault. Your player does the auto tackle there. Yeah. So the problem here, right? This is a game mechanic that just screwed you. Yeah, you control the CDM perfectly. That's a game mechanic that just screwed you because he didn't get that interception. But you also did this right here, right? And this is the problem here. Right? So at this position, you can still defend decently because what you do here is you overcommit with the center back when you still have time to not overcommit them and use your CDMs in that position. Because now that you've overcommitted, right, you've created this space on the side for the guy. Because what happens is, again, the whole thing with the fullbacks, they push more to the middle and you give them more space on the sides now. And he just has an easy driven shot across goal. So never overcommit your center back like that, man, because it completely screws up your back four in general. But I will say that the game mechanic of him trying to get the interception is what screwed you. I think that interception thing, the reason why that interception thing should be like if you want to make that specific interception, it should be like a manual control that you do because sometimes when they do it and you don't want them to and you want to hold that general area, which is what you were doing, you were holding that general area. I can even tell that you're bringing your player back, you're pushing him in that direction. So you would have been fine if the game didn't do that for you because now you have to switch to other players. You try to tackle him to lower his attacking play, but just didn't work out. But that's kind of like a game mechanic screwing you over a little bit. Him trying to do that interception. But this guy did the right thing, like trying to aim for the sides there. But in that position right there, that's where like when I'm using a 4-2-3-1, I use a variation of the formation where I have my left mids and right mids to come back in defense because sometimes that happens where you have to overcommit, but you'll have your left mids and your right mids putting that pressure on the sides, but then you don't really have attacking presence. And because this guy overcommits his fullbacks a lot, I would actually keep the instructions as you have set right now and build the play on the sides until he overcommits his fullbacks again. Because in the middle, this guy's defensively very good. It's when he overcommits his fullback that's where you have your chance, you know? That was a good offside trap. You're controlling the right player, fullback. Switch to the CDM. Switch to Petit now. I could tell that it's screwing you over with the switching for sure. Because even when you switch to the player, you could tell that you're spamming that right stick to switch to him. Push Petit down. Nice. You have to do an LBA. Nice. Beautiful. Now again. Nice. Keep it running. 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 You can't overcommit to those. Because sometimes the players do like a tackle because they think they're going to get the ball 100%. So you just push it to the side, you know? And then you go for that that RBA or that cross. Because in that position, like I said, the players are making the run in the middle. So you won't really have much to work with. So you're controlling the CDM. Hazard is the right mid. So that push isn't that bad, actually. That was a good push. Controlling the right mid. You're doing well this game, man. Honestly, you're not really making much mistakes. You had the one opportunity with Larson where you could have taken the sharp touch downwards, depending on how your gameplay was, and then do a driven finesse shot to the bottom right side. And then defensively, even though the Petit screwed you over with that AI interception kind of tackle like he did, overcoming the center back wasn't a good idea because then that creates space for the attacker, right? Because then your Roberto Carlos is like, oh no, you know, my center back overcommitted. I need to move a little bit more to the middle now. You know what I mean? So you end up switching to a 4-3-1-2. See, I don't think this was a good idea because narrow-wise, the guy overcommits with his left backs and right backs. It's hard to notice that as you're playing. Like sometimes you don't notice the cursor that the other guy is using. So I totally get where you're coming from. I wonder if you actually stay balanced on the fullbacks or if you tell them to stay back while attacking. So you're telling them to press the back line, which I don't know if that's really necessarily a good idea because they were already like there was already like a lot of pressure in the middle and he had a lot of guys defending the middle of the pitch. So you tell your cam to stay forward, get in behind and press the back line. Getting behind and press the back line a lot of times can be overrated. Again, with this, pressing the back line might not be bad, but pressing the back line might be better if you have your fullbacks unbalanced at least. Yeah, so putting them on stay back while attacking is okay. Oh, you only have one guy doing it. See, that's bad because if you do that, then your fullback is going to turn into a center back if you have one guy doing that. But I can understand why you put Roberto Carlos to always overlap because he's the guy that actually has good shooting stats or decent shooting stats. So I can totally understand where you were coming from with that.
Well, this is the second half now, and it's underway.
He tried to do a fake shot there, and he just kicked the ball to you. Head backwards, nice. Switch the play downwards. Yeah, you gotta switch the play downwards there. So over here, you have you have him controlling the guy in the middle here, so you can switch all the way to Roberto Carlos and then work your way with the sides. You got to work your way with the sides because that's where this guy really overcommits, like I said. Good, you brought the players back. That's good. Don't overcommit Milinkovic. See, the moment you overcommitted Milinkovic-Savic, that commitment with the center back was good. So you put the pressure for him to move back. You take it off the center backs and then push to your CDMs again, which is what you do. So that's good. But right here, right, your Hazard is now occupying the right back position. So it actually kind of makes sense a little bit that you push Vasalico. I think you have freeform set on your team. Try to avoid that as much as possible, though, because Hazard's not a defensive player. That's why I always tell people that I try to have left mids and right mids that can defend decently. A Gareth Bale on the left mid position might be god tier because he actually has defensive stats. Beautiful. Pass it downwards. No, not in the middle. Push it out wide, man. Over here, you overcommitted with your center back, so you almost gave him the space here. Because right here, right, because you have the instructions set on your strikers to get to press the back line, your Thierry Henry is already doing that, right? So if you make this pass and you do a Y pass, well, you already made this pass here, but if you do a Y pass to the bottom, you can do a driven pass to Thierry Henry, and then Thierry Henry can lay it off to someone else, and Thierry Henry can make that run in behind the defense, right? So once you do a Y pass down here, you have all this space to work with right here. Passing in the middle is not always the best thing, like I said. Oh, so this is the situation here where you push the center back too high up. Right here. Switch the play downwards. Nice. Nice. You didn't do a first-time pass. That was really good. Driven shot? I think you did a driven finesse shot here. You know, I don't necessarily blame you for this. So here's another thing that the gameplay, this is EA kind of screwing you over a little bit. The reason why you did a driven finesse shot here is because you wanted your player's body to get in the position of the attacker. But it would have been better if you just did a driven shot because so what he wanted to do, guys, is he wanted to rotate his body. Because when you're running straight, if you hold the driven finesse shot, you can actually, your player will sometimes rotate his body and then shoot with his right foot. But because you had the pressure already on your player there, it would have just been better for you to do a driven shot with his left foot. His shot power isn't that good, isn't that crazy, so he might not have been able to hit a good one there, but a driven shot would have been more preferable for sure. Let me see what else you could have done here. The first thing I thought is don't do a first-time pass here. Once you did that, because when he commits that with his center back, I was like, dribble upwards, dribble downwards, because that guy's already overcommitted. Do a Y pass, you know? But you already threw on goal. I would say you had to touch the ball slightly upwards. So like right about here, you have to touch it slightly in that direction. Slightly. Because it's kind of going downward still. So far, you're doing much better than this opposition. The 1-0 result is I wouldn't say is fair so far. I think you're definitely the better player. You've just had very unfortunate circumstances in finishing.
Here's Walker. So relaxed on the ball, Ruud Gullit.
Good, you brought that center back. That was important. Here you do L trigger, L trigger, L trigger. Beautiful, beautiful. I tell people that all the time, man, because this is very inconsistent. You shouldn't do an A pass or whatever to the middle because you can pass it back. Over here, once you get into this position ahead of the attacker, right, which is what you do, you get in front of him, you're holding L trigger. You just hold L trigger. The ball's slowing down. You need to see where the ball wants to go. Hold L trigger, see where the ball's going to dribble, go the opposite direction. That was a very good job. You did a good job there. You have to block the middle now. Offside trap, you got to be careful of the offside traps a little bit. Beautiful. Switching to the CDM in that position was really good. Right here, pass it downwards. Yes, beautiful. Beautiful. I was like, pass it downwards, please. Yeah, see, because he overcommitted this guy right here, right? So once you do that, you do that. Beautiful. Wait for the ball, wait for the run, pass it downwards. Shoot it. Gotta shoot it. Beautiful, man. The extra pass was actually better there because you put Larson on his right foot, so that was actually a really good call. You're definitely better than this guy, so if you lost, I'd be very surprised. Well, not surprised because it's FIFA, but you're definitely the better player so far, in my opinion. You defend really well. Sometimes you overcommit a little bit, and sometimes players occupy a position that you don't want to occupy. So you can tell, I told you guys, man, he switched to a 4-2-3-1. In the beginning of the game, you can tell that's what he switched to. So if you're using the 4-1-2-2 and he has the left attacking mid and the right attacking mid, you have a lot of space to work with in the middle. So that's really good. And the good thing about this is that his Pogba is high medium. So you notice that his Pogba overcommits more than his Patrick Vieira. You got a lot to work with here. At this point, I would even try putting it on balanced with the fullbacks. But you're a good player. I can tell you're definitely like at least Elite 1 for sure. When you're at this level, by the way, guys, this is where the players make the biggest difference. Because it's like, at this level, all the specifics of a player is important. Having the Thierry Henrys, the Ronaldos, like Larson in that position, if that was Ronaldo, like a CR7, and he did a driven shot with his left foot, he would have probably scored it, right? That's where the pay to win or the grinds for hours aspect kind of like kicks in, right? Because notice how the battles like he's having with this guy is a physical battle. And you'll notice, right, his Alessandrini, if I don't know about you guys, but he hasn't been doing anything this game so far. I'm not sure if he took him off.
Could be dangerous.
Because I haven't noticed him once this game.
Stopped emphatically and just as well.
It looks like he's taking him off. That's how much I haven't noticed it. Never pass that back, man. Over here, when you're doing the pass downwards, you hold L trigger to see where his player is going to go. If his player goes downwards, you can dribble upwards and pass the middle. If he goes upwards, you dribble downwards, have all that space to work with in this general area. Because now you give him the ball here, switch to the center back, beautiful. I wouldn't switch there. What you could have done here, actually, right, is you could have made him overcommit his Ronaldo to you. So once you're running upwards, do a ball roll upwards to see where his direction goes, and then do the mechanic of this, right? So do a ball roll and then hold our trigger to accelerate upwards to see where he wants to go. Because if you do that, you have all this space of support right here, right? So you can run upwards and see if your Milinkovic-Savic will give you the support on the sides, or if you can switch to the opposite end. Because you'll notice on the radar that his players start to go back. So you can actually make a switch here. Not here at this point, but if you did a ball roll and you accelerated upwards, you would have been able to pass the ball here to Milinkovic, or you could have passed it back to your Desai. Oh, his Martial actually did the kick mechanic. That's kind of cool. No, you gotta, the Roberto Carlos, you gotta, like, if you're gonna commit him in this position, you gotta block this general area right here. So don't stand here, stand over here. Over this area right here. Because if he switches to anybody in the middle, you have Petit there.
Here's Martial.
You could tell your Milinkovic-Savic is not as defensive-oriented as your Petit, right? Because Milinkovic-Savic high-medium, he's more of an attacker, right? Look where he's positioned on the pitch.
It's Vieira.
So now that you've overcommitted your Roberto Carlos, someone else is occupying that Roberto Carlos spot now.
Working the ball around, working the opposition around. Dybala.
Keeping the pressure in the middle, which is important. That's good. Milinkovic. So now at this point, you got to switch to Milinkovic-Savic because he's too high up, right? So since you're using a 4-1-2-2, but at this point you want to switch to Milinkovic-Savic to go a little bit in the middle, and then once you push Milinkovic-Savic a little bit to the middle, you switch Petit, right? And then you see how your attackers react.
Here's Vieira. Well, here comes the support.
Watch the middle. Nice.
Aldo.
Watch the middle. Watch the middle. All times watch the middle. Yeah, you're keeping that fullback on him.
Martial.
Good tackle there.
He's in with a tackle.
You watch the middle here because your fullback is in position. You know what I'm saying? So if you look, your CDM is occupying that middle spot. Because look, right here, right? If he wants to, once he makes his pass to Ronaldo, he can dribble upwards, but then he can turn around, dribble downwards, and then go for that not driven finesse shot, but that finesse shot on his right side, right? Or he could have passed it back because he has that space to work with.
Here's Martial.
That was a really good tackle, though. You pass it downwards, driven pass. Might be a little bit too rushed. Sometimes I do that though, so I don't judge. You could have done an X cross here too, like to the guy in the middle, because no one is putting pressure on them in the radar. It's just these two guys. So once you get this ball back, you can do like a cross to your Hazard. Yeah, I think you took off your Alessandrini for another player when you switch formations. I might have not noticed it. Pass it downwards. Nice. A pass. Yeah. I think you lost an opportunity a little bit by passing it to Thierry Henry here. Once you opened yourself to that space right there, an A pass to Larson would have been better, because then your Thierry Henry is making that run, so you could have held up the play a little bit, with Larson, and see if your Thierry Henry would have been in a good position. Or if you wanted to, you could have made both your Thierry Henry and your Hazard make that run. So if you did an LBA pass, which is a 1-2 with your striker, see how he commits that guy right there. Now you have all this space to work with. It depends. It's prime Rio Ferdinand, so he probably would have intercepted it. So it might have not been a bad idea.
Free kick given by the ref.
But you see the sides that you have to work with. Like, look at this side here, and then look at the side at the bottom of the radar, right? If your Roberto Carlos is overlapping him, you would have had space to work with on the sides. Like right here, look how much space you could have occupied there. Because again, this guy overcommits with the fullbacks. Look, see? Overcommits, right? If your fullback is making that run, you have all that extra space to work with.
Free kick given by the ref.
So far, you play really well, though. Like honestly, I'm judging your gameplay, but I think that even if you're watching it, you probably know exactly what you did wrong and right, because I can tell that you're a very good player. You probably get top 100 a few times, I would say.
Roberto Carlos. Now last.
Pass in the middle, yeah. Bring it back. No, you got to bring it back.
Pass threaded through.
Although that was pretty good, it actually worked out there.
He's got support
When you
here.
pass it here, I didn't. This is weird that this worked out.
Pass threaded.
Very, very weird. You know what you could have done here, actually, once you got the ball here with Goretzka? Once you got the ball that way, like if you dribbled that way, you could have done a drag back inside and then shot with his left foot, or did a wide pass to Thierry Henry.
So relaxed on the ball, Ruud Gullit.
Using your center back, good, because you overcommitted your Roberto Carlos.
Slight change in
So you're
defensive
blocking that side.
emphasis
That's
here.
important.
Trying to get the opposition caught offside.
Milinkovic-Savic, you're pushing too high up. See?
Lovely ball from Ronaldo. Real chance.
Does he score this one?
Hit it hard, but not very true.
Call the players closer, yeah. See where he wants to move. I wouldn't recommend doing that. No. Wouldn't recommend doing those ones. Those ones are really inconsistent when you're doing it across the body of the goalkeeper. Pass it downwards. Pass it downwards. Nice. Should have done it earlier. Why pass right now? Because that guy's making the run. Larson's making the run, right? You could have done a 1-2. You could have look at all the space you have to work with. See, that's where the guy is vulnerable, right? So if you do a 1-2 play, or you pass the ball and then you do a 1-2 play with Goretzka, your Roberto Carlos is through. See what I'm saying? Like if you made the pass, You could do a 1-2 with Goretzka and then a 1-2 Roberto Carlos. You have that space to work with on the side. You get a little bit unfortunate too, I would say, a little bit there. So right here, you have to go in the middle. Beautiful. Don't stick to the side. So for the people that don't do this right, when you're here, you can't stick to the sides because you are on the outside position on him. You're always supposed to be on the inside of the player, right? So what he does here, sometimes it gets stuck. So if it gets stuck here, right, where your player is already stuck to making this particular run, right, and you notice that his hullet is going to win that, cancel if it's stuck, and then move inside of him. So that's what he does. He moves to the inside. You got to switch to Petit at this very moment if it does for you, because these switches are very inconsistent in FIFA. That's why he's going to pass it 100%. Yeah.
And it's Petit on the ball now. Petit.
Again, guys, I'm judging his gameplay, but I'm telling you this right now. The state of the gameplay really depends on whether or not you will perform good or perform bad. Because I'm saying these things, but if I was playing in this gameplay and it ended up being bad, I wouldn't be able to do the stuff that I'm noticing or taking those small little intricate touches. FIFA's not that type of game, but I can notice these things from a pre-game standpoint of view, but I don't know if your gameplay was good or bad in this. I could tell it was bad a little bit because your switching doesn't work for you. Because I noticed that when you switch, once you switch to the player you want, you stand still for a second and then you move. That's not your fault. That's you trying to switch your player.
With some sharp movement. And shoots.
That's good that you held up that general middle area. That was good. That was important.
And it's going to be his throw here.
Switch to this guy. Yeah. Don't switch your center back. Don't switch to your center back. Don't switch to your center back. I wouldn't yeah, over here, I wouldn't do a second man press on this guy. Definitely wouldn't. You're occupying this. Once you're done with that, once you do that, you got to switch right away. Because Ronaldo, if the game wanted to, it would have scored this for him 100%. Although you did actually guess it right, but he didn't go towards the guy. Yeah, again, I wouldn't do those ones. So you actually got that one. Those ones are more inconsistent. Like if you're gonna do it, chat. I'm so used to streaming when I'm doing this. It's better to do it to this guy right here, right? Because Hullet's on the inside, you're on the outside, so it's easier for you to get the ball. But if you do it this way, your Hullet's on the inside, you're on the outside. You know what I mean? That was actually a good foul. The yellow card's worth it there, so you can reset. That's a really good foul. Yeah, don't commit your Petit. Don't commit your Petit. There you go, beautiful. Bring him back. The overcommitment there wasn't that bad. That was okay. The lunge mechanic just screwed that guy. I hate that lunge mechanic. Nice. Back in the middle. Beautiful. Good fake shot. Middle. Lay it off. Wow, you got really fortunate there. But do you notice? Okay, so here's the thing, right? You didn't mean to do that pass. I know that for a fact that you didn't mean to do that pass. I know that for a fact that you didn't mean to do that pass. I know. But do you notice... Do you notice the thing that I've been telling you this entire video, how he's vulnerable on the sides? Look at that. Look at your fullback. Roberto Carlos is on stay back while attacking. But look at what happens when he commits. You got really fortunate because I know you were passing it to him. Because look, you could even tell he was trying to pass it here. Once he makes his pass in the middle, you know he's trying to pass to Thierry Henry right there. Or not Thierry Henry, per se, because look at the power that he puts into his pass. Oh, you know what? Maybe. No, I don't know. I don't know if you try to pass that one. I don't know. But again, fullback overlapping there. Sometimes it's worth the risk, you know? Unbalanced. Maybe not always overlap, but unbalanced, it would have been worth it. Or if you use always overlap, it wouldn't be bad either. You know why? Because if your tactics is already set to freeform, someone else will occupy the spot of Roberto Carlos when he's gone. Like I said, though, you're definitely better than this guy, 100%. 100%. So if you end up tying or losing this game, it's like, this is the type of game where it should be like 3-1. 3-1, you may push it 4-1, but I think 3-1 would have been a more proper result for sure.
It's been a thrilling contest, this.
Now it's wasting time, baby. Make sure you waste time. All about wasting time now. If you're playing foot champs, it's all about wasting time. Push it to the sides, beautiful. Fake shot, go upwards, yep. Lay it off, switch sides, yep. Do a ball roll downwards, commit back inside, there you go. Don't attack, don't even bother. Don't even bother. Switch the side again. He's going to do it, watch, he's going to do it. Good L trigger, that was a really good L trigger there. Look, you guys will see, right, with the L trigger mechanic, when he's shielding the guy. Look at where his back goes. Look at where his back goes, right? When he gives the ball off here, when he L triggers, you see how his back instantly goes towards the direction of the defender? You can dribble upwards now here and then do a wide pass off to Milinkovic. But his Patrick Vieira is a god.
The whistle's gone. Free kick.
Pass it close. Yep.
And here's Last.
Pass it back to the goalkeeper. Beautiful. That's it. In foot champs, that's what you got to do. So, in regards to your gameplay, the only thing is honestly completely down to noticing how the person is defending against you. So if you notice that they're really like using second man press, you can do a lot of passing plays to get past that. Because he was overcommitting his fullbacks, you notice that his sides are the ones that are the most vulnerable. I think the way that I'm seeing it, I think you got fortunate on that Roberto Carlos pass because the registration for that dude was terrible. And it was, I don't know if it was entirely his fault because it was a little bit off in that situation. You can tell because when he switched, it switched super late to that guy. Because when you make this pass, right? Look at when you make this pass. When you make this pass, everything's working out. But because the switching is awful, look at the direction his player moves, right? Before he can actually switch backwards. Look at this. Look how many times that the guy switches here. You see how his player's in a good position here. Look at this. But because when he's trying to switch the guy, his player pushes forward before he goes back. Look at this. Watch this guy right here when he switches to him. He pushes forward before he goes back. So you got very fortunate that the game screwed him over there. Because once he realized that happened, he switched to his center back right away. This guy defensively did a good job. Other than the fullback situation, defensively he did a good job by doing that. But he got really unfortunate. Because he even does the slide tackle himself. That's not an AI tackle. That's actually him doing it. So he got really screwed over in this one play right here. But I still think that you deserve the win in this situation. So that is going to conclude it for this video, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy it. If you guys have your gameplay that you guys want to send me for me to analyze it for you, be sure to let me know in the comment section down below. Bad News Bastard, thank you for sending your gameplay to the stream. If you guys have any, again, be sure to let me know in the comment section down below. I hope you guys enjoyed the video today. If you guys did, please drop a thumbs up on it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.